responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Astros continue to roll. Prince Philip has passed. Joe Biden executive orders gun laws, and a whole lot more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Did you see Biden talking about the AFT the other day? Not the ATF, the AFT.
Oh, no. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's hard, you come in here dead cold out of the car, and you got to come in and you just try to fire up some of Bill Posey's listeners, and we love Billy, but then you shift gears and you start over fresh. It's like it's a new hour. Life is good, and we just roll on. It's all theater of the mind. It's all journalism at its finest, or weakest,
or something.
It's just meant to entertain.
But let's do this.
Make you think. Folks, for everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. It's a great time to get in now. As Matt Boucher says, around the 15th of April is when you want to throw down the serious weed and feed type fertilizer. Throw down, and Deerland can help you figure out what you need for your lawn to make it luscious.
What you need to feed.
Right. Plus, if whether it be some type of a product to kill ants or make them move to your neighbor's yard, if you're more humane, ant be gone, Ant be gone.
Ant be gone. Stay away.
Get over there to Deerland Feed. It's 73 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 84, and it's going to be like kind of mostly sunny.
It got windy last night. It was a nice evening, and then all of a sudden the wind whipped up about 8 o'clock, and it just was.
Well, I'm also convinced that where you're at in the county is a little bit higher than we are. And
slightly,
so you get a little bit of the breeze that we don't get.
Off the mountaintops.
The carcinogens from Formosa that just come right across the top of Victoria in the jet stream.
Oh, is that what
they land out there on you? How else do you explain that hair?
I don't know.
I mean, it's got to be driven. There you go. We're looking good on Facebook this morning. Appreciate those of you that listen to us on YouTube. Of course, Magic 95.9.
All one of you.
Magic95victoria.com. There's a Magic 95 app. And the great thing about the Magic 95 app, and there's no tongue-in-cheek here, I'm deadly serious. If you will listen to Magic 95.9 here in Victoria with 25,000 watts all over the city easily now, you'll find that there's a play mix. There's a great, it's the only legitimate Tejano station in this area. And they'll play some old favorites, and then there's kind of Spanish versions of English songs and vice versa, English versions of songs that you may recognize as being quote-unquote Tejano. That this is just a really entertaining radio station. I started out, I would have it on in the mornings listening to Bill, and sometimes I'd walk back out after our show, and I'd listen to Brother Gary and Ralph. And then I got to where I just started checking in during the day, and it's on all day. And I'm picking up a little Spanish here and there. I'm working on my accents. We didn't move the border. The border moved us. I've been working on that. I'm pretty good at that, by the way.
You can voice that ad
I
next time.
can voice that ad in a heartbeat. That's a good one.
Amanda Bloschke, first one in this morning.
Hello, Amanda.
BJ Nelson checking in. Richard King checking in from Kansas. We're huge in Kansas this
morning.
We
are big in Kansas.
Marvin Mikush. Good morning.
He had his significant had a birthday the other day. Don Posey. Good morning,
Judge.
Sir.
Roy Gutierrez checking in. Let's see who else is.
Gutierrez.
Scott Tomko.
Gutierrez. You can't argue with folks who happen to be Hispanic if you can't say their names properly.
Tracy Price.
Christian Javier yesterday. That's mostly a lot of air in Javier. Then when you go, Christian, run, Christian, Javier. That's how you do that with a Spanish accent. Christian Javier has a gem of 5 innings of shutout baseball last night for the Astros. Astros. You know what 6-1 have in common? The score of last night's game and the Astros record. The only blemish being a loss to California Angels.
Yeah. 6-2, I think, was the final yesterday.
Was it? No, okay. You messed up my narrative, but Astros are tough. Now, let me tell you.
They've been fun to watch. I
Well-
mean, early on, it reminds me of 2017 when things were going good in Astroland. That's kind of
Well,
where they are right now.
Let me tell you, the pitcher last night, Guerra for the A's comes out, and I think the announcers were saying Guerra. I think he's from the Dominican, and he had just walked out there. Now I know you've been up in the bully. You're looking at what you're doing your work, right? But he walked out, Ash. He was sweating profusely. So,
Well, it's hot and humid compared to Oakland.
let me tell you something. Well, and it is. You're right. See, one thing about Minute Maid Park, the roof was open. Okay, the stands have AC, even with the roof open, but the field not so much.
No.
Well, I figured out why he was sweating. He grooved a fastball, and Jose Altuve hit it to above the Oxy sign and left. But when your lineup goes, Jose Altuve, who you make a mistake, he'll kill you. Michael Brantley, you got to pitch to Altuve because Brantley's hitting like 380 as an Astro. Alex Bregman comes in batting third. You got to pitch to him. He's right-handed because after him comes left-handed Yordan Alvarez, who hit one last night. Folks, Alvarez is like that kid in Little League that doesn't realize how strong he is. And like he runs over the catcher and the kid is in a wheelchair. Alvarez is up to the plate. There was no violent swing. I mean, this kid just swung the bat and laid it down, and the ball just went forever into the upper deck in right center. 400-foot shot?
Easy.
At least. Let me tell you something. Altuve, Brantley, righty, lefty, right? Bregman, Alvarez, righty, lefty. Who are you going to put out there? It's not like, well, we'll start the lefty tonight. That'll confuse their lineup. Then I come right back after the lefty Alvarez with Correa, who also hit a home run last night. And after that, I give you Gurriel. I mean, I am deep with big-time power hitters all the way to the 6th spot. And then you go Straw, Tucker, Castro. But look, Tucker's got some pop in his bat.
I get it for average.
And if Straw gets on, everything's like a double. He runs literally like a deer, not Bambi deer, like a buck deer. And then Castro, as you pointed out, is a really serviceable defensive catcher. He's not going to hit much. He's a 160 hitter. Who cares? Yeah. Who cares at that point?
A little better than that.
If he gets a walk, he gets a walk, and then we're right back to.
But he has enough pop that if he gets a hold of one,
yeah. Astros are tough. You try to pitch that lineup, you're gonna sweat too.
Hope they haven't peaked too early.
Yeah, 6-1. Good morning, Tracy Price. Good morning, Kendra Douglas.
Amanda Smith King. Good morning, Bob Constantine checking in. Good morning,
Robert.
Bob. Justin Glass is in. Sheriff Louderback.
Sheriff was in El Paso yesterday. I think this is public knowledge. You never know because the sheriff does a lot of stuff, folks. I mean, there's times that he'll end up in D.C. and like even I don't know about it till he gets back.
Not so much anymore.
Not so much anymore. No, but he and Biden meet at the mental health institution. But anyway,
Ramsey's.
Well, yeah, that would double the IQ of both. Biden. Anyway, the sheriff was in El Paso yesterday and met with what's the guy's name with an M? That's the chief of Homeland Security. That guy. Maya Makamukas. That guy. Maya Koyos.
Mayorkas?
Matsuyama. Hideki Matsuyama. No,
not another baseball player.
That guy. And so we'll get the sheriff to come in. He hasn't forgotten the little people. He's on Cavuto. Yes, he's on Hannity. Yes, he's on Tucker, let me tell you. Him and Tucker Carlson are friends. But he hasn't forgotten Wade Carter, and he will come in soon.
19,000 unaccompanied minors reported by immigration officials at the U.S.-Mexico border in March, the highest monthly total since they ever began tracking those statistics.
H.R. Mallory says, good morning. Brent's all riled up on a Friday. Let me tell you something. You can challenge me about anything you want. You can call me at 575-9509. Ask me any question you want. But when somebody asks you on live radio, what's the guy's name? Mike Gomez. So this Mike Gomez guy is a writer. So, okay, cool. And Bill Posey thinks the world of him. Bill Posey says that he's consistent, and that he writes well. Okay, well, you would like to think you could take that for granted in a journalist, but okay, so Mike's an exceptional journalist. Good for him. They asked Mike Gomez, do you listen to Wade Carter? No, those guys are maybe specifically, no, that Carter's a racist. No, I don't listen. Carter's a racist. I said, that's like me not knowing you and calling you an idiot, Mike. You don't know me. You don't listen to me. If you base anything about me on something you read in The Advocate under the Chris Colbert regime, then you are an idiot. So I like The Advocate. I like George. He's a nice guy. But at the end of the day, you got to listen to us to decide whether or not what I say is racist. And then I found out that he doesn't write for The Advocate. He writes a blog and sometimes contributes to The Advocate. So I'm picturing a guy with a really closed mind in his grandmother's basement pounding out comments on an old, Apple computer. I'm less impressed. You want to go toe-to-toe with me, Mike Gomez? Call me. Call me out on my thoughts and see if I'm a racist. 575-9509. Good morning, Jeff Finley. Good morning, Mike Bloschke. Bobby Leister. Not really fired up. I just don't take that garbage.
Yeah, why should you?
Why should I? I'm not a racist. Greg Garcia knows I'm not a racist. He's right there.
Andy Ria Jr., good morning. Bobby Leister says the Leisterometer is holding steady at 8:30.
830 YouTubers, half of which are Russian, don't think I'm a racist.
Amanda Smith King says Jack's listening in. He'll be 9 tomorrow. Amanda, you've been around long enough. We don't do that sort of stuff.
If we cared, we go, hey, Jack, happy birthday, buddy. 9's a big one. Be sure and listen to your mom and dad. Brush your teeth twice a day.
Once before bed.
Absolutely. And know that Wade and Carter loves you.
Have a happy birthday, Jack.
We would never do that. But if we did, that's something like what we would say. With sincerity. Happy birthday, buddy.
Have a good one.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Nice to have listeners from 9 to 90.
Yeah.
Speaking of 90, how about Prince Philip? 99.
Yeah, passed away either overnight or early in the morning. Listening to a few people talk about his life coming in, and one of the last, at least in public life, remaining active servicemen from World War II. Served in battle, was not one of those muckety mucks who stood on the back line to get his service medal and pin it to his chest.
Was he a royal at that point?
No, but he was a duke of something or other. But he wasn't a royal.
Duke,
yeah,
ultimately.
But
everybody's a duke or an earl.
Apparently witnessed the surrender of Japan as part when he was with the Royal Navy. So yeah, so I mean, but active was,
So General MacArthur must have liked him.
Maybe so.
Then he comes back, falls in love with
Princess Elizabeth at the
time. Princess Elizabeth, and they get married. And you know what, Donnie and I, T-Lac, good morning, sweetheart. She and I watched The Crown. We watched all of it. And you have to figure, I worked through in my head, it wasn't slanderous to the monarchy. So you figure at some point, at some level, there was a little bit of cooperation with somebody, you know what I'm saying, that had access to the monarchy. They painted Prince Philip.
Some former staffer who was fired and disgruntled.
Absolutely. But they painted Prince Philip as a guy who kind of got it, because he had been around the world, because he had fought on the front lines, literally fought in battle, that he was one of those guys that was like, the monarchy, you got to do what's best for the crown, Liz. I get it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't feed the poor. That was kind of his attitude on a lot of things. I gained an affinity because I always thought, he's just the prince's whipping boy, the queen's whipping boy. Yeah. But in reality, he was a really strong support staff for her and a pretty solid guy. He had a special relationship with Diana that, according to this show and several things I've read, that he understood, hey, I know what it's like to be the outsider. I get it, but you got to, he would have had no patience for Meghan Markle's whining about the monarchy. Then don't marry don't marry a race car driver if you're worried about, well, what if he has a wreck? Don't marry a race car driver. Don't marry the monarchy if you don't want to go to formal functions, and don't marry a priest if you don't want to go to church. It's pretty basic stuff.
I, as a kid, growing up, couldn't figure out how she was the queen and he was only a prince. Because, you know, when you read the fairy tales, it's always
He
king
would
and
be
queen,
the king,
right?
right?
Yeah. Didn't make any sense to me. And how the queen's mom is the queen's mom and not a queen herself.
Yeah, no, she had been the queen.
I don't think she.
No, she wasn't ever the queen, was she?
No.
Or was she?
No,
No, she wasn't. He was the king, King George the Fifth or something.
Passed, right?
Yeah, he died,
And then she took the throne.
Yeah, Elizabeth never forgave the other side, the uncle, if you will, who
Was that
advocated.
It was Edward, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. He advocated
To come over to the U.S. and
marry.
marry at the time a divorced woman. That was risque.
But what's amazing is those marriages all worked out. You ever notice those people have been married like 60 years?
Yeah, they didn't
care much about love. They cared about formality.
So we'll see if Prince Henry or Harry and Meghan Markle last that long. Because that's the comparison being drawn nowadays, right? But yeah, right. Prince Philip passed at 99, just 2 months shy of his 100th birthday. You know, when I heard that, I got to thinking, like, wow, if he's one of the last few in England that served in World War II, there can't be many left.
No, there can't be.
Around the world, I'm saying.
No, there's not. It was an amazing statistic about 10 years ago. I remember reading that America's World War II veterans were dying at a rate of, like, pick a number. I mean, I'm not making it up, like 5,000 a day. A day. It's crazy numbers. Yeah. Lisa Poole says Majorca, she's showing off. Hey, Funky, good morning.
H.R. Mallory.
Who said they love me? Oh, thanks, Carol Lee. That's a coworker of mine, Carol Lee Smith. Let me tell you, people call me all the time. All the time. And they're like, hey, Carter, you guys do health insurance? I'm like, yes, and not me. I go, let me tell you something. I'm going to have my friend, Carol Lee Smith, call you. And Carol Lee will help you with, you know, I need a copy of your census. Oh, I need your most recent billing. Oh. And she and I both agree that, you know, there's times that health insurance is just a racket.
Yeah.
But if you really need some help, you call me. I'll get you with Carol Lee. She makes it painless.
There you go.
She's the best.
Brent Anderson checking in. BJ Nelson says the definition of racist has been skewed. I listened to a caller yesterday
no doubt.
on the Sean Hannity
right.
show. And black lady called in and absolutely was talking about how the word has lost its power, how it's lost its meaning, how it used to mean something, and the left has just absolutely taken the word and for lack of a better, wussified it in a sense. It's lost any meaning, and now because just simply, and this was her point, simply because those on the left disagree with you, they will pull out that card and call you a racist. And she says they have weakened the word. It used to mean something when somebody was called a racist because it was a label and a stigma you did not want.
Absolutely.
And she says now, and you still don't want it, but she says the word has absolutely lost its meaning because the left use it so often to accuse somebody of being racist that's not even a racist situation, that there's no meaning. It's just their go-to word to try to end a conversation or to insult somebody.
Well, it's also, there's certain things I can say about you that immediately put you on the defensive. Like, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Oh, Ash, he's a terrible tipper. We go to restaurants, he's a terrible tipper. And by the way, I know that. I picked one so obscure because I know that to absolutely be false.
Yeah, you have a tip to be a terrible tipper.
No, but I mean, the whole drive safely. Thank you.
Don't eat yellow snow. There's your tip for the day.
No, but I mean, you know, it's if I say, well, that guy, he's racist. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I thought he was a good guy, you know? And Greg Garcia says, ignorant people love to throw around the word racist when they have nothing intelligent to say. Well, either that or they start a blog. What did T-Lat say right there? I'm married to you, and it offends me that people say that. You're the most unracist person I know. I witness it daily. Well, thank you, sweetheart. That must be your German background coming out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where that even comes from. And I'll tell you one thing we're blessed with in Victoria, really, is my best friends are Hispanic. I don't like the Irish. I'm big on that here. I talk about it often. And I'm kidding. See, it's a joke. It's a radio program. But yeah, I mean, my best friends are Hispanic. And I can't even imagine disliking someone over them. Walla Chavez. That's it. Walla Chavez. They dropped the EZ.
Walla
Chavez. You have to get that.
There it is.
The thing that makes me chuckle is when you watch the news and the talking head, then when they go, I like what it says, and thank you for tuning in. I am Stefano Clajardo, Eyewitness News. I mean, either own it or don't own it. You know, it's like, I'm paying homage to my cultural roots. Clajardo.
One time a show.
One time a show. The rest of the time, I'm using diction I learned at an
Yeah.
all-white boys' school. I don't get that. Oh, Amanda says we made Jack's day. Jack must be out of the car now,
Yeah.
off to school.
Yeah, good. I'm glad we made somebody's day.
Peter McNally will spend the day drinking martinis in honor of Prince Philip. He says Prince Philip has yes, sir. We covered
Maybe
that.
stout. Maybe a good.
Yeah, like
probably
a
not
Guinness.
Guinness. Guinness is Irish. I mean, I know it's the Commonwealth and the monarchy, but I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. Maybe more a Young's stout. Or they might be more.
I just got a text from a buddy. He says,
Smithwick's.
You're not racist. You're just right.
Smithwick's. That's what
Wow.
I'll drink. I think that's an English beer.
There you go. What I remember about being, sir, I thought you were waving at me.
My
Sometimes-
sleeve was bothering
No,
me.
because sometimes you'll say like that. Sometimes, and
Oh, yeah,
you have
it's-
to. I'm not being silly. You'll say, okay, that's enough of that. Or, let's move on. Like sometimes when I'm doing the weather and I want to just keep going about all the cool stuff I see at dealer, I'm like, that's all they get. That's it. The weather's done. It's time to move on. Clayton Meyer, good morning, fellas. Go Stros. No kidding. Jake Dup checks in from the cold, Pacific Northwest.
Prairies.
Well,
Yeah, you're typical American. You don't know the map of.
is it a
Canada.
prairie?
They're in the prairies.
Is that where the buffalo used to go when the Indians would chase them all the way up there? The Native Americans? They chase them all the way
They
through
were
there?
already up there,
Or did the buffalo
chase them
all
up there.
run up and just stop right at that border?
right at the border, because you couldn't get through the wall of snow there.
What's the border? Columbia River?
That's no. The 48th parallel is
Why are you
that's the
laughing?
line. Just because
Just, folks,
the map of the world doesn't end at the 48th parallel. There, when you see the weather map on TV and there's like nothing above the U.S., that always irks me.
I would love to play like Canadian trivia. Now, some of you folks, like Heather Munro, M-U-N-R-O, you would not be allowed to participate. I could not, to save my life, go across Canada and tell you the provinces. I know that the far west is Alberta. No, what's
They're a little further west.
what's further west?
There's one further west of Alberta.
Okay, and I know that
British Columbia, BC.
that's on the right side, isn't
No,
it? Above
it's-
New York.
No,
So BC is over there,
above Washington.
and then right next to that is
Alberta.
Alberta,
Yeah.
and then Ontario.
No.
Well, Toronto's a city,
Yeah.
and Saskatchewan's further. Is that it?
That's right next to
Saskatchewan.
Alberta.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that makes it kind of above the Dakotas.
Yes. Yes. Saskatchewan's above the Dakotas.
And then you have to get into. Then all of a sudden, I mean, we've got to get to like Ontario.
Not quite. There's another one in there.
It's not Nova
Above
Scotia.
Minnesota. No.
Minnesota.
Above Minnesota, eh?
Hey, what's up there?
Where Johnny Houghton checks in from all the time.
Tim Horton, Hortonville.
Manitoba.
Horton has a hoot. Okay, so Manitoba, that's its own province.
Yes. Then, not Providence, as many Americans call it. At least you got the
Province.
terminology right.
It's a province,
Then you've got Ontario.
which is big, right?
Yeah, it's a big province.
And
Alberta, though, is bigger.
Isn't
than-
like Nova
Alberta-
Scotia like a little bitty
Yeah,
thing?
Nova Scotia's right on the edge.
Right above Maine or somewhere.
Yeah, over that way. Kind of right on the edge. They get a lot of the crap from the
China,
storms,
that floats
the
in,
Atlantic hurricanes that finally start fizzling out.
the plastic flows in.
Yeah,
from
the
China.
straws have killed all the Nova Scotians.
Right, right.
All the kids swimming in the
Now
bay.
what's okay? Manitoba, Ontario,
Quebec.
Quebec. That's
Yeah.
French.
Yeah. Then you got Labrador stuck on the end of it, which is part of Newfoundland. and
Toronto's in
Labrador.
Ontario, though,
Yes,
right? But
correct.
isn't Ontario
But if you
French too?
The eastern part kind of is.
'Cause it's next to
border.
Quebec,
Yeah, more or less.
Quebec.
Yeah,
which means pacifist in French.
more or less.
Okay, then what's next to Quebec?
Labrador's kind of stuck up the top. Newfoundland and Labrador, the Newfies,
Yeah, the Newfies.
are there. And then you've got the maritime provinces, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island is a little island, good known of the home of Anna Green Gables and potatoes.
Look, there's Jeff Fonseca, and how about this? I'm flattered by that. It's a talk great about Brent Friday. I welcome it. Jeff Fonseca says, Brent, I consider you as a top friend, but that's like being a top fan.
Yes,
but
a little bit
a little
lower.
bit less. He said, I'm actually offended as a friend. Wish I could meet this jackwagon. Racist? No way. Thanks, Jeff. Checks in the mail.
And then you go above.
No, there's not
Yes,
2 layers.
Yes, there's above.
Come on, man.
You go.
You tell me
above
like Saskatchewan doesn't go all the way to the top?
No.
Oh my goodness.
There's an arbitrary line been drawn there, like the 60th
Do
parallel.
you people know this?
Above British Columbia,
It's called the North Pole.
between Alaska and British Columbia,
What's
is the
there?
Yukon.
That's really
Yukon
that's not
territory.
like that's really there.
Sergeant Preston of the Yukon. That's
That's like made up. That's a
no,
real
there,
deal.
Yes.
The Yukon.
Next to that is the Northwest Territories, and next to that is another place called Nunavut.
The old man from the mountains coming in home, 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 right?
Yep.
Yukon. You picture that guy with the full beard, right? And it's what was the movie with Robert Redford where he's the hunter? It's a name, like, it's not Yukon Jack. It's called
No, that was a brand of bad whiskey.
Bob Redford. What was his name? What do we got here?
I don't know.
Good morning, Carter. You're on the air with Wade and Carter.
Hey, BJ, how
Hi,
are you?
BJ. How are you, man? Yeah, Britt's having a rough morning. Got called a racist by a guy that blogs out of a basement. Well, it has now that Baylor's won a national championship. It's like the definition of Baptist has changed. You see all those guys from New Jersey, a bunch of black guys from New Jersey came down to Baylor, won a championship. It's not a Baptist university anymore. It's just Baylor.
They were all dancing.
Right. They were all dancing, fornicating. They were fornicating over in Waco. Everybody went to George's and had a Big O and a chicken fried steak sandwich. After the diarrhea, they all had sex. Baylor, Baylor, Baylor. It's Friday. That it lands safely. Yes, ma'am. Same thing with Viagra. Flights lasting more than 4 hours should be seen by a pilot. The great Baylor Bear says, see, he's not racist. He's just jealous. Sick of I agree with you, BJ. How was yesterday? Did Mr. Nelson cook for everybody? There you go.
Nice. What was on the menu yesterday?
See, Ash is trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Like a flat griddle.
Nice.
Y'all have such a beautiful facility out there. Now's a good time to tell you. You may want to add.
How many of those roll-offs you got left? The ones that just arrived like 2 days ago.
Please do.
Sure, go right ahead.
I do.
I was gonna say that's good. That sounds like good job security. You tear it down and you fill up your own dumpsters.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is that horizontal or vertical integration? Right? I think it's horizontal,
Yeah, I
but
think
I
it
don't
is
remember.
horizontal.
I didn't do so good in that class. Directional economics. Now's a great time for us to tell you White Trash Services, 550-1826. On a Friday, although BJ sounds like she could be at Lake McQueenie, in general on a Friday, if you call out there and ask for BJ Nelson, you can talk to her. She's super friendly. Super
Yeah, I
knowledgeable.
wouldn't call it a Friday and ask for BJ. Maybe Monday or
Maybe
Tuesday.
No, she's kind of laid back in from the lake.
Yeah, okay. After lunch on Monday, call and ask for
Well,
BJ.
let's see. Hang on. Let's just go through this again. So she's out Monday because it's a long weekend. The Tuesday morning, she's got a lot of catching up to do. And then there's usually a lunch on Tuesday, and then there's paperwork. Maybe Wednesday from 9 to 9:30, 550-1826, you can ask for BJ. The rest of the time, you can have confidence that the White Trash Services staff will take care of you at 550-1826, whether you need a roll-off dumpster or service in the 7-county contiguous region to Victoria, Holiday Beach,
Rockport,
Lavernia, parts
Lake
of Reno,
McQueenie.
Nevada. If you need them, you call them and they'll be there. That's White Trash Services. Now, if you've got a property, it's got an old house on it, an old building on it, you want it gone, you call White Trash Site Services. Same number, 550-1826. All right. Thank you, man.
That was pretty good for no notes.
Yeah, it's almost like we get paid to know something. Hey, thanks for calling, BJ. You want to give a shout out to anybody today? I mean, anything seriously? Like I know you and Mike Mercer, y'all could get together and rub Baylor rings, and I'm excited for y'all. I think it's great that I really mean that. There's no really jealousy. I think it's fantastic.
There hasn't been that much excitement for college hoops in Texas
Yes,
in a long time
it's
with
just
UH and Baylor
fantastic.
getting to the Final Four. So
Yeah,
it was good for
fantastic.
that.
Are you? I mean,
And
would you
there's
go
a
on
what's
record?
a Senate meeting today? Isn't that today? Tomorrow. Okay.
Let me tell
Okay.
you, I learned something real quickly. The ladies in Yoakum, they take their Republican politics very seriously. I had some fun with them about, they were going to wear their red hats, and boy, I got some phone calls.
Yeah, you
and
did.
It was good. I love that though. No, that's fantastic.
Cool.
You were talking about asking Ash if he knew about White Trash Site Services, and Andy Rion Jr. says, "Hey, I know about it, BJ." So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, those are awesome folks. Well, hey, we'll let you go. We really appreciate your support. You keep us on the straight and narrow, okay? Hey,
Thanks,
you too.
BJ. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye. So there you go. That is BJ Nelson of White Trash Services. Let's just go right
Yeah, we
through
gotta catch up with you
adsandoffer.com since 1926.
That
Victoria's
Subaru was
dealer.
still there last night. So
Somebody
don't,
do it.
yeah, don't, it won't be there. It
It'll
won't
be gone
last
by
this
Monday.
weekend. Absolutely.
Somebody will buy that. Yep. Jeff Fonseca says reaching BJ at White Trash Services is like, oh yeah, caddy swim free 11 to 11:15. It's a legit point. Caddyshack reference, shameless Caddyshack reference on a Friday. Since 1926, Ash.
It's always a movie I tend to watch around Masters time. I don't know why.
It's one that I can't turn off. Well,
No.
I've seen Top Gun, parts of it, honestly, 300 times. I'm like,
Any of the
it's
John
like-
Hughes movies from the 80s, and
Yeah.
one of those
Animal House.
Animal House,
Or even
Blazing Saddles.
Even though I cuss myself for doing it, I won't turn off Ghostbusters. And it's
No.
not even that great.
I'm with you. I was not.
It's
It was
not
a
that
movie in the
great.
80s, and I was just like, yeah, it's all right.
I always looked at Bill Murray. I always thought he had his tongue firmly in his cheek that acting wasn't really something he took very seriously.
Although I thought Harold Ramis was probably the unsung hero of that movie.
Of course, he wrote it.
I know he did.
Gave himself all the subtle parts of greatness. Yeah. When Bill Murray's girlfriend says she's leaving, he's like, "No, don't leave. The plants will die." That's how much he cared about her. Since 1926, Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Atzenhofer's got it all. Tommy Taylor would want you to know that shopping local is something he does, something you should do. Dana Moore de la Garza took delivery of a new Chevy just the other day. I asked her if it was a hearse. She said no.
It wasn't?
It's beautiful. It's a white. I think it's a Traverse. It's long. It's good looking.
Not long enough to be a hearse.
SUV. Well, it is if you're cremated.
I guess.
And she can help you make that decision. You want to be cremated? You get a 6-pack of urns in the back of that thing. What are you talking about? If you need a lot, if you be careful, just be careful where you go. Just let that go.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go.
You could go. You can reach out 652-9157. That's the first time in 5 years, honestly. First time in 5 years that I told him, careful, don't go too far there.
I was going to be an obscure Canadian.
I know you were
something.
Thank goodness. 652-9157. That's where you reach.
BJ Nelson says Chevrolet has the prettiest colors right now on their cars. From the lady who orders anything, and it's either red or white.
Right. It's okay. I'll take it red or white. Either one. She has a vehicle right now that's more of a candy apple red, I think.
Auto Mortgage, Terry Murray. Give Terry a call, 541-5454, for all your mortgage questions and answers, because she'll have them.
Let me tell you something.
You'll have questions,
Terry Murray. She's a nice lady.
Oh, very
like
nice.
If you go in there and you're like, "Hey, I don't want to ask a dumb question," she's going to go, "It's okay. Carter's been here. I mean, you can ask me anything. You won't shock me." No. She can help you.
And she's a great friend to the pet rescue community.
Absolutely.
Well.
But let's say, I've got a $200,000 house and we owe about $80,000 on it, but our interest rate's 6.25% because we bought it 15 years ago. Terry Murray can help you pull $100,000 out to put that new pool in the yard, cut your rate to maybe two and change, and
somewhere there.
You pay it off in 15 years, and your payment goes down.
And you got money in the bank.
Interest rates drive the cost of your home. If you can drop it by 2 or 3 points, that's remodel money that you get for free. Reach out to Terry Murray.
You can serve some of that. You can put some of that money into a generator. Whole home backup generator from Wind Services.
I highly recommend that too. It is storm season. We've kind of been lulled in. The 2-week lockdown that we've been on for the last 60 weeks has kind of lulled us into, what could go wrong? Well, you saw it during the freeze when the power was off. You need a Cummins, Kohler, Generac, whole house generator. Or you might need a specific generator like Briggs & Stratton could do to keep your AC on or to keep your freezer working. You can always buy water, but it's hard to store electricity.
Absolutely.
Reach out to Wind Services. And we can stop our break right there, even though we have a lot more. Man, Ash have unbelievable sponsors.
Yeah, we do.
They stay with us through all the idiocy, It's great.
I do want to plug the Saddle Up with the Sheriffs. We'll give that one plug this morning. That'll be April 29th from 6 to 10 at Club Westerner. A great effort to raise money to help support the efforts of the sheriffs in the region. These funds go to things that they're involved in beyond the scope of their actual day-to-day business. So something that, for example, if Justin Marr needed to go somewhere in Victoria County, can't pick up the tab, he can apply for funds that would help do that.
Or if it's not ethical for Victoria County. You know what? No criticism here. I have a question. But it was pointed out to me yesterday.
But you can call them real.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
But I just wanted to call Kelly at VCS and she'll help you.
That's Kelly Harlan.
Yes.
Yes. You just dial the VCS companies and she'll help you get tickets to that event.
Yeah, they're going fast though. It just shows you the affinity for law enforcement and law and order in this region because it's filling up. So
yeah, and I apologize for that. I didn't mean to walk on.
No, that's all right.
I but it
can't happen again. I'll have to shink you.
I won't do it. It's okay. I'll be okay with one kidney.
You only need one.
I didn't want to lose the thought that yesterday it was pointed out to me that you probably by now, if you live in the county, have received the. I mean, it's a
postcard.
It's a postcard, but it's what is it? It's like 9 inches by 5 inches of
That's
VISD
probably not that big, but
propaganda. Well, it's 10 inches
Yeah.
long. It's at least 10 inches long. It's a propaganda piece from VISD, which I have no problem with, except that it was pointed out to me that it appears to be paid for with taxpayer dollars.
that was some of the claims. I can't
I don't
imagine that's the
understand it.
case.
There was no disclaimer on the bottom, like paid for by VISD Education Foundation or any of that. I'm just curious if anybody knows anything about the origins of the piece. Don't get me wrong. I'm not accusing VISD of misappropriating.
Others
funds.
have.
Others have. I'm saying there's got to be the rest of the story. And I don't know what it is yet.
Could find out, I guess.
We could find out if we were serious journalists.
Yeah, if we were.
By the way, great news. Did you know these little song snippets that I play for y'all?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay because whatever it is, BMI and all the stuff that goes on around the radio station, I got it covered. It's cool. The only people that don't sometimes get it are Facebook because they don't know that.
Well,
we're
there's a
radio
fair use
program.
doctrine too. You can use little snippets of songs to make points and things.
I
As long
did
as
not
you're
know
not
that.
just using it to blatantly, but yeah. So don't get carried away now.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying if you hear something, because our audience is very musically driven. If you hear something and go, "Hey, Carter, what about?" I can play you a piece of it.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, we're still Tejano formatted. You can't just go off the rails and play whatever you want.
I think I can. I found in life it's usually easier to get forgiveness and permission, except with Dawn. So much.
And artists who want that fractional of a penny for every song that gets played on the air,
Right.
because those checks add up.
It's so much
Checks
easier
it
with
out.
Dawn to get for permission first, or in this case, most of the time, it's easier to be told no than to do so and then get.
I wonder, yeah.
It hurts when a woman's 20 years younger than you, looks at you, tells you you're an idiot, and you realize that she's right. She's always right. It bothers me a lot.
Has she busted out "You're an old fart" yet?
No,
Not
no,
yet.
no,
That's
no.
coming.
No, it'll happen at some point.
And all you can do is go, "Yeah, you're right."
Well, her dad's like 30 minutes older than me, and if that. So, like, if he and I are sitting in the living room, and every now and then he'll go, "You know he's right, Don, don't you?" "Oh, hush, Dad."
Yeah.
I mean, we can't win.
No, you can't.
Jeff Fonseca says we could have the
Yeah.
weekly top 40.
Simpy checking in. Good morning to you, Simpy.
Hey, Sip.
So I wonder if Joe Biden is going to get blamed for this.
Scheissman. The Scheissman.
Because you know darn well that if Donald Trump was still president, somehow he'd be blamed for the resurgence of Catholic Protestant violence in Northern Ireland.
I thought that was YouTube's fault.
Well, it probably is. But you've got a bunch of young people sitting around, probably with nothing to do because they've been locked down. And they probably got on the internet and researched some history and realized that, you know, for the last 20 years, they've been friends with their Protestant neighbor across the street.
Is it really a religious battle, or do Protestants and Catholics kind of define politics up there?
Yeah, well, I think a little bit of both. But
I don't know.
I mean, I know the angst has sort of been simmering under the surface, but when you've got 12 and 13-year-olds hurling rocks and homemade Molotov cocktails at each other, what can 12 and 13-year-olds, I mean, how do they get that mad at each other
Right.
to start, you know, it has to come from mom and dad. It has to.
Well, back in the day, we wouldn't have took that. We're not going to take it easy,
Yeah.
Mom.
But you know darn well, if Donald J. Trump was still the 45th president and we hadn't moved on to 46 in Biden, he would somehow be getting blamed for this violence. But I'm not convinced it would have even happened under his watch.
I don't know how you can objectively observe all the stuff that's going on. You know, you made the comment the other day, and I thought it was very insightful, that Joe Biden, his platform revolves around an obsession with undoing anything Donald Trump ever touched. NAFTA or our NATO relationships or the Paris Clean Air I mean, he's like, hey, we're back in business. That's his deal. I talked to
Giving
Brian.
Iran money and letting him get a nuclear weapon.
We're back in business. Oh, North Korea wants to fire a missile. No problem. You go ahead. If that makes you feel good, you go ahead.
China wants to threaten Taiwan. Go ahead, China, because
No worries,
you gave me $1.5 billion, so
we owe
I
you
can't really
money.
do anything about it now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Y'all go ahead. Fight it out. And I think that this is a systematic, the current economic crisis is in part driven by the left's desire to have a huge reset and all of us be equal under a world currency with mediocrity being the standard of life.
I need to find it, but somebody the other day I was perusing some articles and it caught my eye, but I didn't get a chance to go back and read it. They have basically said President Biden's administration has waged war on the American dollar.
Yeah,
with all their reckless spending and the trillions of dollars in the name of, and as you pointed out, even under Trump's administration, the folks in Congress will give a bill a fancy name that has absolutely nothing to do with what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
The American Relief Plan.
Keep America Great Act,
Because nobody's against that, right? Or you can't be against that.
Right.
But as we found out with the American Relief Plan, there really wasn't much COVID relief in it. What? 9% of the almost $2 trillion went to actually COVID relief. Everything else was pork and pet projects. And as we're finding out with this so-called infrastructure plan, the left has redefined. I'm not going to say the leftists, because it's more than just somebody who's center left. These are hardcore leftists who believe in socialism, communism, and trying to destroy individualism and everything that makes America great. They hate America so bad they're willing to destroy this country because socialism has worked so well everywhere else. They are lazy. They don't have a job. They don't care about anything other than power, because that's the other funny thing with socialism. And look it up everywhere you go. Not everybody's equal. There's everybody, and then there's those in power and rule.
Elite.
Yeah, who have all the privilege and all the power and all the money, and everybody else who has nothing. You're standing in line for bread. You're not allowed to travel. That's where we're heading, and that's what they want. They want the power and the prestige and the elitism that comes with it all.
The thing that gets me is things have happened in our country that were unthinkable 5 years ago. I mean, you would have never believed me if I would have told you 5 years ago, there's going to be a flu epidemic. I couldn't have known it would be a pandemic or COVID but there's going to be a flu epidemic. Then they're not going to let you travel. You can't get on a plane and go to Mexico, say, for example. You just can't do it. You'd have gone, you're a conspiracy nut. You're a nut job. Which is interesting. I mean, but it's true. It's all true. You and I have different philosophies. I like to engage the idiots, but you like to ignore them. I do find something here.
Idiot's platform, but
it is okay. So there's a guy or somebody. It could be a woman, probably a woman. Thinks illogically enough, it's probably a woman. I'm kidding. It says humanity cannot
go home and face the wrath of that one.
Humanity cannot be free until the last king and queen is strangled by the entrails of the last pope and priest. That was said by Voltaire. What's interesting about the comment is,
well, that was a poor Chrysler car, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the Voltaire.
The Voltaire. But then there was Volare. Anyway, the thing about that is, if you think about it, there's some truth in that, because people in general tend to make people their gods. And the idea being true freedom is by worshiping no man. I mean, in theory, everybody would know the existence of a higher being. They would all accept that is the higher being, and they would all live in freedom worshiping that higher being. So, I mean, it's not like Voltaire was not calling for people to take to the streets and strangle the king and queen and strangle the Pope. He was saying, don't put those people on such a pedestal that you make yourself subservient to them just by your existence. That's the point. So, and then they come back with, no real leaders.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. You're not qualified.
That was deep for a Friday. We don't usually get that deep.
No, but I mean, I can get deep. I'm actually fairly intelligent. I just choose not to display it here.
Speaking of deep, Sandy Lyle's in deep at the Masters.
What did you have Lyle doing yesterday? It was like
I figured he'd be around, Yeah.
So Jordan Spieth makes a 7 on one hole, and then later on chips in, and he looked at his caddy like, I think he finished his round around 1 under, and it was the kind of thing that has to happen for you to win a major. Like that unexpected, it's one thing when the guy, which Tiger Woods used to do, he'd go out and hit 15, 16 greens, make every putt inside 10 feet, and destroy the field by 20 strokes because he was just not human.
Yeah.
But on the PGA Tour, the day-to-day, they all are really good tee to green. The guy that wins is the guy with the hot putter. But to win a major, there's always some deal where, Sergio had a hole-in-one that day on his way to winning the U.S. Open or whatever. There's always something.
Justin Rose just basically birdied the entire back 9 yesterday.
Did you know, though, that Justin Rose has been the leader in the clubhouse on day 1 like 5 or 6 times? There is absolutely no chance that Justin Rose wins this tournament. I think he has a 3-stroke lead. There is no chance.
4 strokes.
Okay, there's still no chance that Justin Rose wins this tournament. I don't know if it's being British. I don't know. He just can't work 4 days in a row. The socialist in him gives up on Sunday. I don't know. He will not win this tournament. Where do we have our guys? DeChambeau.
I'm looking.
You're going to look way down the leaderboard for your guys.
Yeah, I think so.
What did Justin Thomas shoot yesterday?
Let's see. Spieth is 1 under. You had Spieth and Thomas, right?
Yeah, Spieth and Thomas. Now, for the record, I gave
you gave me DeChambeau and
Lee Elder.
and Dustin Johnson.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson was playing pretty good.
I'm looking. I don't see these guys. Dustin Johnson right at the cut line, +2.
Okay.
DeChambeau is 4 over.
Yeah, you're not looking too good.
Justin Thomas, I think, is further down the list.
He's worse?
I don't know.
He mailed it in?
I'm trying to see. I can't. I'm trying to read it.
Did you? And also, I'd like to see what happened to Brooks Koepka.
Koepka's 2 over. He's on the cut line.
He's about done.
Where is Justin Thomas? I'm probably over. There he is, 1 over. So, yeah, you're sitting better than I am.
Yeah. Sure.
So.
Plus, remember that we had the Astros at over the 95. We had, we've done pretty good on our sports predictions lately.
Pretty much. So we'll see. I wonder. I mean, Augusta obviously plays a little more difficult, a lot harder in April than it did in November.
Yeah. Well, the greens folks are kind of blotchy. They look kind of green and brown. By the way, easy install could be Caleb Shaw. Taxes are a public utility. Social programs are not to be privatized for profit. Government is socialist by default. Deep, deep thoughts. It's either a robot or some kid in a basement.
I'd like to know how Easy Install found us.
I don't
curious.
know. But just found us because we're global. Did you see?
True.
Last week, Lilo, there's people, I was surprised, people in Norway, Australia, India. Help me. There was another one that you said, I know the guy, Germany. This is a true story that listened to Wade and Carter. And
Australia.
We welcome all of our international listeners.
Venezuela used to listen until they started rationing their power, and now they can't get on the internet. So,
right. Buenos dias, Venezuela. I have to talk to each country. Very difficult.
Yeah. The only good news in the NHL this week is my Calgary Flames couldn't play, so they couldn't lose because they were supposed to play Vancouver for 2 games, and
the Flames?
Yeah, they were supposed to play Vancouver for 2 games, but Vancouver has been ravaged by COVID. The city as well as the entire team, like 21 members of the team have COVID.
How are the Rangers doing?
They lost last night, but they're playing better of late.
I would like for you to become a fan of a team from Canada that wins. I mean, going through hockey season with you is like going through football season as a Cowboys
Right
fan.
now, I can't because the only team right now winning consistently is
Oh,
the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I just can't.
that's
do
a
that.
beautiful thing. Funky Trey Molina says John Paul can, folks, this is a true story. John Paul Hull and the folks at Razor IT Solutions, they can find
Yeah,
this
they can.
stalker we've got, but can they find a way to get in there and take all of his Bitcoin? That's what I want to know.
That would be illegal.
Reach
That's no longer ethical hacking.
Reach out to Razor IT Solutions. That would be awesome.
That'd be funny.
It'd be awesome. JP, can you find
I don't.
our stalker? Razor IT Solutions for all your internet development needs, your Facebook, your website development, monitoring, studying your analytics, telling you how to
Security,
make money.
encryption of data.
They do it all. They do it all.
You're not going to find good Mexican food if you don't get to Veracruz today.
No, there won't be anything on the weekend. You've got to go to Veracruz today. And I would order now. Call this morning. No, not too early. But call and reach out to Lee and Ida. Get you an enchilada casserole for the weekend. And some hot sauce.
I always find it interesting when people hide behind.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't bother me. That's, we're just having fun with
Yeah.
this easy install guy. I don't think he's actually listening. I think it's some kind of a program that, I would just type on there and just go, yeah, I'm listening. It's just, I think they don't listen.
Probably not.
So,
But-
and that's
but
okay.
Too afraid to put put it out under his own name.
Yeah. So you're deep inside. Like Ash used to tell me I would let things bother me, and Ash would go, "That's just radio, bro. You got to let it go. You got to let it go." Now Ash is like, "I hate that guy."
No, I don't hate anybody.
It's not what you said about Putin.
Oh,
The law
It's
offices
cover.
of Steve
it's just the
Kidder.
front. I have to say that.
We're
while
gonna go
while
over
I'm in
today.
deep covering you.
Just stay in there, Ralph. We're busy. The law offices of Steve Kidder can help you with any kind of contractual issue, familial issue. You got a hot wife you want to get rid of? Introduce her to Steve Kidder.
Stalker
Done.
issue.
Yeah, he'll help you get rid of a stalker. You need a temporary restraining order. He can help you with that. He can help you navigate the waters at the courthouse. It all sounds like fun and games. You watch a little Matlock. You think you want to represent yourself.
Yeah.
That's all good until the judge goes, "You're out of order. Sit down." But Your Honor, sit down. I'm going to have you
I
forcibly
object.
removed.
You can't.
You can't object. You can't appeal balls and strikes. You can't do it. It's not going to happen. Judge Marr, Judge Ernst, they'll help you as much as they can. They're great folks. But at the end
Can't
of
help
the day,
those who don't want to help
you
themselves.
need an attorney. USA Concrete Coatings 578 Home. Charlie Garcia will come out and touch up that patio for you. He'll touch up your garage floor, make it look spectacular. Can you imagine if you put down like an Astros emblem on your garage floor, turn that into a man cave? You're getting free square footage. You already bought it.
Your car doesn't fit in it.
You don't need your car in there. You need a big screen in there and a kegerator. 578 Home is the beginning of all your man cave dreams. We got a call. You know what? This is going to, well, I'm making a prediction. This is going to be a call. Somebody wanting Brother Gary.
Good morning, Wade and Carter.
It's the other one.
Oh, it's the other one. There we go.
Good morning, Wade and Carter. How can we help you? Okay, well, go ahead and give us your birthday wish, and we'll pass that on to Brother Gary. Hey, thanks there.
Thank you,
Hey,
sir.
we love you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
That's Dale Zook. Dale Zook's running for school board. He's out there visiting with a lot of folks. Dale, what's the latest? How did your debate go the other day?
All right,
Okay,
sounds good.
listen, hey, that's good.
Have a good weekend. All right. See you, Dale.
That's an interesting.
Just playing along.
That's a politician right there who's comfortable that he's in the lead. I mean, he's like, "Here, take the floor." No, that's okay. I just want to say hi. Our banner sponsor, folks, the VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, everybody associated with the Hartmans, just do fantastic work. Whether you need security, surround sound, surveillance, you need fire suppression, you need like an ANSI system at a restaurant. If you need to bring an old building into compliance, if you need, glass breakage sensors, everything at your home, everything at your business, they can do it. They do it right. They can monitor it. You would do your family and your business well to reach out to the VCS companies. They're our banner sponsor for a reason. They're extremely generous with us. They help us a tremendous amount. Also, give a shout out to Compadres Design for the wonderful work they do on our banners and our swag. There's been some demand for some of the merchandise that we've got. It's never been merchandise. We've
No.
always given it away.
It's promo items.
And it literally giving it away. I mean, just literally out
Here
of
you
the
go.
Wade and Carter checkbook.
When we have it,
But we're gonna have to do more. There's a demand. I think we're gonna start trying to sell some caps and stuff, and we'll work with charities on that. We'll be like the Advocate. A portion of all profits will go to somebody someday. Still waiting to see where the Advocate gave the money for the Hurricane Harvey book. Complete 360 right here on Red River. You can go to the health bar and get you a smoothie, a panini, all kinds of supplements, or you can go up north at my Buffalo Wild Wing, pass on the grease, go in there and get you a smoothie or an energy tea. They've got all kinds of
Supplements.
vitamins, protein, pure, like the purest, no carb whey proteins for your workouts and your when you're trying to enhance yourself. Reach out to the folks at Complete. We didn't mention Chesney
we
Furniture.
did not know, but we will.
We will. Bobby Leon is such a fine gentleman and just a part of the fabric of this community. Reach out to Chesney Furniture. Chesney and Love make your house a home, and it's observable. 101 years, people. You just do better at Chestnut. That's 116 West Wanland, the corner of Wanland and Bridge.
Beautiful downtown Victoria.
There you go.
And if you need them this weekend, hopefully you won't, but make sure you've got Alan's record service number right there at the top of your list.
Cannot forget
578-6300.
I do like, and it's in my phone. I just put AAAA Allen's 578-6300. If I ever get a bind, I just go to the top of my phone list
There it
and I
is.
dial it. And Alan will tell you, can you get the vehicle off the road? Okay, get out of it and move back away. Things you
Get off the
think
shoulder.
they make perfect sense until you're a little frazzled. Reach out to your friends in the towing business at Allen's Wrecker Service. Easy Install says, have I offended you? No, there's not a chance you can offend us. Not even a chance. We appreciate you listening. Mike Gomez, thanks for listening in, buddy. I hope that our listeners, the thousands of listeners that we're blessed to have convinced you that there's no racist format here. We're all pro Victoria all the time. By the way, I talked to Chief Arredondo yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And he said,